Hey everyone, welcome to MT Guitar, and hope you're doing well. I want to talk about how to improvise, how to begin improvising using one chord. Now let's go somewhere else. There's a million things you could do when you improvise. There's a million things you could learn before you improvise. But really, I started improvising without any knowledge of any scales. The first year I was completely self-taught with a couple friends showing me some chords, Pink Floyd song, Wish You Were Here, Landslide, this and that, just learning a few songs like that, Dave Matthews, whatever. Eventually, I did get a teacher a year after I began. But for the first year, I remember just messing around up and down the scale. I really was fascinated with lead, especially. So I remember just not knowing what was going on, but I would find a collection of notes that seemed to work, and it was all pretty sort of just guessing. But thinking about improvising, really we want to know just enough to begin. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to loop one chord, an E major chord, and there's nothing wrong with just playing over one chord. Highly recommend it. Then we're going to pick a scale. I'm going to show you a few scales throughout the lesson, so stick around for different ways to practice over this. I'm going to post a backing track sort of loop of this on the Patreon. It's a great way to support the channel, and it's at the $5 a month level where you'll find study guides as well as all the song tabs. So yeah, check that out, subscribe. But let's make a loop right now, and we'll jump into how you can begin to improvise on your own. You can practice along with me on the Patreon. I'll have a section of this video where just the loop is going without me playing so you can practice. Okay, so let's try it out. Here's an E major chord. 2, 3, 4. Okay, great. So we've got that loop now. Let's cover the Mixolydian scale. I really think the Mixolydian is a wonderful vehicle for improvisation because it's oddly stable, even though it's a dominant 7th chord and a dominant 7 type scale. Meaning, if I was playing E7, Mixolydian would work really well. I just played an E major, so you don't have to play Mixolydian, which is why I'm going to cover a few other options later. But the Mixolydian is a wonderful option because you find it in blues, rock, country, and jam band, right? I have a few private students who we look at a lot of Fish and Grateful Dead and other groups like that, and there's a lot of Mixolydian going on. Seems to be a really nice vehicle to improvise, okay? So, E Mixolydian scale. There's the bass octave there from the open string. It's major scale with a flat 7, okay? So that would be the open position. This isn't a theory lesson, so I'm not going to go through every position, but let's go through a couple here. So there would be that area, of Mixolydian. Do it up here, do it there, do it there. Okay, but perhaps more importantly, you don't have to stick to a position, all right? And easier said than done. This is why you'd want to sit there and really just sort of zen out a little bit on a scale and take out the need for instant improvement or instant understanding. And as I encourage my students, and I try to remember to encourage the YouTube viewers here, to get lost, right? I encourage you to get lost and not know where you are. Your ear knows the scale once you run it up and down. So your homework would be run that scale, then break free from it and challenge yourself to know that if you hit a wrong note, that you'll know to correct it. And that wasn't even a wrong note necessarily, that was just a flat 5, which is awesome. But if you play this note, you know that's not right. You know that's right. So instead of thinking about the theory all the time, just get lost and know that your ear will be there for you. Okay? So I'm going to play this chord. I was about to say chord progression, but it's just a chord looped, right? Just E major. And I'm going to play E Mixolydian. And I'm going to try to simulate for you the idea that my ear knows the scale. And I've run the scale maybe in an octave and really gotten that sound in my ear. Now I'm going to mess around with that. Maybe I'll start here in this area. And then I'll start to venture off from there. And then I'll give you a chance to try. Okay, here we go. Now let's go somewhere else. This is a lot of fun for me, and that's why I want to share it with you, because I'm not playing a song where I'm going to another chord and I have to honor the song. I'm not even playing over a practice track where I have to honor the next chord. Meaning I just can sort of almost be meditative and exploratory with E major, okay, an E major chord. And Mixolydian is a nice blend of a little more of a bluesy and rock sound as opposed to just major scale. Nothing wrong with just the major scale. My private students know very well how important the major scale is. But Mixolydian with one note changed, flat 7, it gives it a sort of more modern sound, and it's kind of fun to see what happens on it. So next little tip here for improvisation, I told you I'd sprinkle in some options. When you have Mixolydian, it automatically has a flat 7 chord in it. And in the case of E major, that would be a D major triad or chord. So D major is within the E Mixolydian. If that doesn't make sense, don't worry about it. Just know that you could do triad pairs, so to speak, or chord tones of an E and then D. Okay, so I could do E and D triads over this chord. Let's see what that sounds like. And all you would have to do is go up, go down a whole step from any E major triad. Then you can go back to E Mixolydian. All right? Here's an E triad, down a D. Yeah. So you could throw that into your practice routine. You could also throw in a blues scale. Okay, it's a wonderful thing to play the minor blues scale over a major chord. It always sort of brings it to a more expressive quality sometimes, right? So if I've done my my nice little Mixolydian meditation. And now I'm going to throw in some blues riffs, okay? So E minor blues scale. All right, and I think you can research my other videos or other videos about that if you need. It's a pretty well-known scale, so let's try it out. Instant blues rock. Okay. What about mixing the two? We're going to go from Mixolydian to a blues scale. This is all Mixolydian. Now blues scale. Back to Mixolydian. I just switched again. Okay, I'm not making a huge deal about it right now, but that is such a massively important thing. Going from Mixolydian to blues scale is kind of, so crucial for blues and rock language. And I have mentioned that before, but I'll continue to mention it because we all need reminders, including myself, about how we can mix up scales. So you have one chord, you have Mixolydian, you have a triad pair from E to D, and you've got the blues scale. Let me put on this loop and go ahead and practice along with it. I'll throw up some scale diagrams and you can just give it a go, okay? So remember to check out the Patreon for a downloadable MP3 of this backing track. And good luck with this. Remember to have fun with this. This is kind of meant to be a lighthearted approach. You don't need to always be thinking about theory. Just let your ear guide you. Get the scales well enough in your ear so that you can sort of mess around. Hopefully that helps. Good to see you all. As always, looking forward to next lesson.